Welcome students to the fourth video in our inflorescence series, and we are looking at the third most important category of inflorescence, that is the Cymose inflorescence. Let's look at the important features of this particular type of inflorescence. Beginning with it's a determinate or definite in the sense that unlike the previous case, that is the racemose case, we have the tip ending in a flower, in the sense that there's no further development at the shoot tip. The shoot tip, once the flower is formed, no further development is seen at that part. Second part is that after that tip ends in a flower, the further growth is usually happens by one or more lateral branches, which behaves like the main axis. So not the point. Once a particular tip ends in a flower, the growth at that point ends, and further growth is by means of one or more lateral branches. Looking at the arrangement of flowers in a Cymose inflorescence, we can easily see that it's basipetal or centrifugal. Basipetal in the sense that you have the older flowers at the top, which means that the younger flowers and the buds are seen at the bottom. Or it's and centrifugal in the sense that you have the older flowers towards the center and the younger ones at the periphery. So that's a key point. Now, Cymose inflorescence has basically three divisions, and we are looking at the first division, that is Uniparous or Monochasial Cyme. And here a very important point as far as the Monochasial Cyme is concerned is the presence of what is called a sympodial peduncle. Now we know that peduncle is basically means the axis on which all the flowers are getting arranged, or it's an inflorescence axis. So sympodial peduncle, it means that the peduncle is formed by the fusion of the bases. The fusion is done, or the fusion occurs at the base of the axillary branches and the main axis. So sympodial peduncle is a type of peduncle which is formed by the fusion of the base part of the axillary branches along with the main axis. So not this point. This is a particular special kind of development of the inflorescence axis, which is a characteristic feature of the Uniparous or Monochasial Cyme. Now, interestingly, this type of Cymose inflorescence has two variations. They are the helicoid and the scorpioid. You can get the idea from the wording itself. Helicoid basically indicates a helix. So what is it? What exactly is the kind of arrangement? Helicoid is a kind of arrangement in which all the flowers are on the same side and forming a helix-like pattern. So that's the key point. Scorpioid, of course, it's indicating to the scorpion, that kind of we know about scorpion, the insect. So it's looking at something like that kind of pattern, which simply means that the flowers are developing in an alternate fashion. So let's look at the diagram to get a keener and finer idea of what we are discussing here. So helicoid, we can easily see that you have the flowers at one side of the stem and of the axis, and you have the leaves on the other side. So it may be curving, something like a curvy, and it may be growing straight up. So those two kinds could be there. And as far as Scorpioid is concerned, it's actually something like a very interesting case, something like a zigzag faction, where it's alternating. Alternating means that at a particular bend, if you have the leaf coming at one side and the flower coming at the opposite point at the other bend, it will be it'll be on the opposite, in the sense that at the other bend, the leaf will be coming on the other side, whereas the flower will be coming on the alternate position. So something like that. So note the point. It will be quite easy to remember these two divisions of the monochasial cyme. If you remember the diagram, that will be the best method to remember. So the helicoid variation of the monochasial cyme, as well as the scorpioid variation, and lastly, in this particular case, let's look at the notable examples. So helicoid, we have Drosera and Begonia, and for the case of scorpioid, we have Trichoma and Heliotropium. So that's about the monochasial cyme, which is a division of the Cymose Inflorescence. Now, before going on to the next, there's a special case which of the Scorpioid subdivision, which we just discussed, and it is called the Rhipidium. So what is Rhipidium? Rhipidium basically is a modification of the Scorpioid variation of the monochasial cyme, which we just discussed. And here, what is the key difference? What is the characteristic point as far as Rhipidium is concerned? That the key point is that all the flowers are developing in a particular plane. So all the flowers are born in one plane. So note that point. Rhipidium is a special case of the Scorpioid inflorescence, where all the flowers are born in one plane. And a very famous notable example is Solanum nigrum. So that's about Rhipidium. And now we are going on to the next case. That's next case as far as so the first case was Uniparous naturally. The next case will be Biparous. So that's the Biparous or the Dichasial Cyme. Naturally, di refers to two. So Biparous or Dichasial Cyme. So what is the key feature of this kind of Cymose inflorescence? Here, the terminal flower is subtended by two lateral branches. So the terminal flower is subtended by two lateral branches, which also ends in flowers. So that's a key point. You have a terminal flower, which means that something like a main end is developing into a flower, and on the sides you have two lateral branches, which also develops to form a floral region. That's a key point. And the peduncle is multipodial. So that's a important point about the Biparous or Dichasial Cyme. And some notable examples, especially those which could be asked in the NEET examination, of Dianthus, Jasmine, Bougainvillea, and the inflorescence of the teak tree. So these are the important examples. And let's have a look at a diagram to get a better idea about Dichasial Cyme. You can see that the shoot is ending at a particular point, and from there you have multiple developments. You have the leaves coming out, and further you have something like multiple sections developing, each section having leaves, and then going on forward to having buds and flowers. So that's a key point. And this so this is the characteristic feature. So retreating, you have a terminal flower which is subtended by two lateral branches, which also ends in flowers. So the diagram easily shows what we are discussing here. And of course, this kind of inflorescence is commonly seen in jasmine and bougainvillea. So going on to the third case, that is the multiparous or Polychasial Cyme. Now, polychasial, the wording itself indicates how this kind of cyme, how this division of cyme is different from the monochasial as well as the dichasial cyme. So what is the key point? Here the main axis ends in a flower, and there are more than 2 lateral branches which continues the growth of the inflorescence. So that's the key point. That's the first important key point. The main axis ends in a flower, and more than 2 lateral branches. Not the point, more than 2 lateral branches. So there could be 2 or more than 2 lateral branches continues the growth of that region which produces the inflorescence. Now, more than this point, there's a very, very important point to note about polychasial or multiparous cyme, in the sense that this arrangement is usually seen at the beginning, and later on we see the biparous as well as the monoparous arrangement. So that's a key point. So once again, reiterating, a very important point is that this stage usually is seen only in the primary divisions, that is the first divisions of the shoot tip, and later on we are what kind of we are seeing the inflorescence which come out later on actually would be having the dichasial, then followed by the monochasial type of inflorescence. So not that point, those plants which have the polychasial type of polychasial cyme type of inflorescence, that development is only in the beginning stage. Later it will be bichasial, and going on it will be monochasial. So not that point. And a third, no less important point is that the peduncle is multipodial. So let's look at a diagram of Heliopedans to get a further nice, better idea about what we are discussing. And you can easily see here that there's multiple developments of inflorescence, something like coming out quite in a random fashion. So that's the key point about the polychasial cyme. So once again, not to be forgotten, don't so the key and the most important point, if it's asked about if the discussion is about multiparous, is that this inflorescence, this particular type of inflorescence, is only at the primary stage. Going on further, you will not be seeing this kind of development. You will be seeing biparous or dichasial, and then monoparous cyme. So that's the key point. And continuing with the discussion, we are going to the fourth case, which is called the Cymose Head or the glomerule. So what are the key points as far as the Cymose Head is considered? The first point is that you have the flowers are sessile or subsessile. What do you mean by that? Now we know that the flowers have individual stalks. Flowers having individual stalks are called pedicellate. So here sessile means the pedicel is not present. Subsessile means the pedicel is not nicely developed. Something like it's sessile, but there is some rudimentary pedicel-like development. That's a key point. So the flowers are sessile or subsessile. It's seen centrifugally around the flowers develop centrifugally around a receptacle, in the sense that you have the older flowers towards the center and younger flowers at the periphery. Note the point that the peduncle has developed into a receptacle. That's a flattened cup-like thing. So it's a receptacle. The peduncle here is a receptacle, and a very interesting case is what is called a Kadamba tree. That is the Anthocephalus Kadamba. Also, you have Albizia and Acacia. So Acacia or kikar is a very commonly found plant in the Indian subcontinent. And let's have a look at this particular case. Let's have a look at the diagram of this particular case to get a fine idea about the Cymose head. So you can see that it's something like a small compact development, and there's a lot of leaflets around the inflorescence. And as far as acacia or kikar is concerned, you also have spines coming out at the junction where you have the inflorescence. So that's a key point about the Cymose type of inflorescence. The mention about spines is unique to kikar. So basically it isn't a general point. So we have the diagram about which we were discussing now, and it can easily be seen that, as already mentioned, the inflorescence is quite compact, quite small, and it's surrounded by leaf, a lot of leaf developments as far as acacia or kikar is concerned. Thanks for watching.